the forbidden energy gap of silicon and germanium T equal to 0 degree Kelvin. So how to solve this problem? How do you solve this problem? Forbidden energy gap. Actually, we told already energy gap Eg is equal to how much? Energy gap Eg. How to find forbidden energy gap? Energy gap Eg is equal to, the formula is Eg naught minus beta into capital T. So what is Eg naught? Eg naught is energy gap at 0 degree Kelvin, isn't it? So at 0 degree Kelvin T is equal to 0. What do you get? Eg is equal to Eg naught. So at Eg naught, what is the value of Eg naught for silicon? Silicon, it is equal to how much? 1.21 electron volts. And for germanium, this is for silicon, and for germanium it is equal to 0.785 electron volts. This is for germanium. So please do remember these two important formulas: 1.21 electron volts, 0.785 electron volts at 0 degree Kelvin. So this is the forbidden energy gap for silicon and germanium at 0 degree Kelvin, right? Next, the same problem. What is the forbidden energy gap of silicon and germanium at room temperature? How do you find an answer for this? How do you find an answer for this? The same thing what we have written in last slide. Eg is equal to Eg naught minus beta into capital T. So here capital T is room temperature. So what is room temperature actually? Capital T is equal to, room temperature is given by 27 degrees C plus 273 if you want to convert into kelvins. So how much you get? 300 degree Kelvin. So this is 300 degree Kelvin is room temperature. Now what is beta? Beta is a change of forbidden energy gap for every degree C rise in temperature. So what is the change? Yesterday we have learned that beta is equal to 3.6 into 10 power minus 4 for silicon, and beta is also equal to 2.23 into 10 power minus 4 for germanium. Please do remember this beta value, because this is for, as temperature increases, forbidden energy gap changes by 3.6 into 10 power minus 4 for silicon and 2.23 into 10 power minus 4 for germanium. That means if you assume this is a conduction band and this is valency band, and the gap is here is called Eg, because this one is energy Ec and this is Ev, and therefore if this is the gap Eg, this gap will be reduced for every degree C rise in temperature. As temperature rises, energy gap decreases. Please do remember this point. How much it is decreasing means it is decreasing by this quantity. As temperature increases, energy gap decreases. It decreases by how much quantity for silicon? 3.6 into 10 power minus 4. Germanium 2.23 into 10 power minus 4. So now let us calculate for at room temperature what is Eg. Eg is equal to Eg naught. What is Eg naught at T is equal to 300 degree Kelvin? At T is equal to 300 degree Kelvin, let us take for first for silicon. Silicon at T equal to 300 degree Kelvin, Eg is equal to Eg naught. Eg naught is equal to, already we have learned in last slide, 1.21 electron volts minus beta. Beta is 3.6 into 10 power minus 4 into capital T is 300. So that is equal to, if you solve it, how much you get? You get approximately 1.1 electron volts. 1.1 electron volts. That is for silicon. Then for germanium at T is equal to 300 degree Kelvin, germanium T is equal to 300 degree Kelvin. What is Eg? Eg is equal to 0.785. This is at 0 degree Kelvin. Energy gap is 0.785 electron volts, and beta is 2.23 into 10 power minus 4. It's a change factor into 300. So that is equal to, if you do it, you get 0.72 electron volts approximately. So this is the energy gap at room temperatures. Okay, at room temperature. So you need to by heart all this. Energy gap at room temperature for silicon 1.1, and for germanium it is 0.72 electron volts. Right? Is it clear? Next, let us go for third question. What is the forbidden energy gap of silicon? For what is the forbidden energy gap of silicon and germanium at T is equal to 500 degree Kelvin? Tell me the answers, anyone? Tell me the answer, or post in a chat box. What is your answer? At T is equal to 500 degree Kelvin. Answer? What is the answer? How do you do it? At T is equal to 500 degree Kelvin. For silicon and germanium, it has been asked. First for silicon, write the formula. Eg is equal to Eg naught minus beta into capital T. So, what is Eg naught? Eg naught by default it is for the silicon it is 1.21 minus 1.21 minus what is beta? 3.6 into 10 power minus 4 into capital T. So, what is capital T? Capital T is equal to 500 degree Kelvin. So, do it. How much answer you get? It is equal to 1.03 electron volts. Very good. 1.03 electron volts. Okay. Next. Similarly for germanium, Eg is equal to Eg naught minus beta into capital T. So that is Eg naught is 0.785 minus 2.23 into 10 power minus 4 into 500. This is a very important question. It has been asked in one of GATE exam. At 500 degree Kelvin, germanium it's equal to how much? 0.67 electron volts. Very good. 0.67 electron volts. It is equal to 0.67 electron volts. So this is a very important problem. So previously it has been asked in one of the GATE exam, right? T is equal to 500 degree Kelvin, right? So likewise you need to calculate and you need to solve each and every problem whatever it is given there, right? So next, let's go for the another topic. Why we are going for silicon actually? Why we choose silicon in electronics? All mobile phones and all laptops, if you consider inside of laptops and mobile phones, there are certain pieces. This one integrated chips. All these integrated chips which are made up of with silicon only. Why silicon actually? Right. So there are certain important reasons why we need to choose silicon here. So you see the first point here. Yeah, you take germanium because these are semiconductors actually. Germanium is a semiconductor, silicon is a semiconductor, gallium is a semiconductor, gallium arsenide is a semiconductor. So this is called compound semiconductor. Gallium arsenide is a compound semiconductor. Gallium arsenide. These are single crystal semiconductors. Germanium is single and silicon is single. Right. Now the atomic number is of germanium is 32. Atomic number of germanium is 32. If atomic number of germanium is 32, let us say why we choose silicon only in electronics. Atomic number of germanium is 32. 32, how do you write, Amma? 32, how many electrons are present in first orbit? Actually, suppose this is the first orbit. How many electrons are present in first orbit? 2 electrons. How many are in second orbit? 8 electrons. How many are in the third orbit? 18 electrons. What is the formula you need to find how many electrons are present in each orbit? It's equal to 2n square. 2n square. 18 electrons. How many will be in fourth orbit? It is only 4. Because 18 plus 8 plus 2, 10. 28, 28 plus 4, 32. So atomic number of germanium is 32. So therefore, you have 4 electrons at outermost orbit. So here outermost orbit electrons are 4. Outermost orbit electrons. How many electrons are there in outermost orbit? 4. This is for germanium. Atomic number is 32. Outermost orbit electrons are 4. How many orbits, Amma? How many orbits? How many orbitals? 4 orbitals. How many orbitals? 4 orbitals. Now see. Compare with silicon. Come with silicon. Silicon, what is the atomic number? 14. Atomic number of silicon is 14. How many electrons are present in first orbit? 2. How many in second orbit? 8. 8 plus 2, 10. How many remains? 4. So therefore, how many electrons are present in outermost orbit? 4. How many orbitals? Only 3. 3 orbitals here, right? So this is for germanium and this is for silicon. This is atomic number and this is a number of electrons, 4 at outermost orbit. Orbits are only 4 and 3 here. Now see here, germanium, I told you already, the first orbit electrons are more attracted towards the nucleus here. Similarly, second orbit electrons are also somewhat attracted towards the nucleus, but they are not more attracted towards the nucleus. They are less attracted towards the nucleus. Whereas if you consider fourth orbit here we consider fourth orbit and here we consider fourth orbit. Here only 3 orbitals, here 4 orbitals. Now see, now tell me, as temperature rises, as temperature rises, as temperature rises, what happens? Temperature is increasing means energy is increasing. If energy is increasing, which atom electrons comes outside first? It may be germanium or is it silicon? Because silicon outermost orbit electrons are more attracted towards the nucleus because only 3 orbitals here. But here only four orbitals and fourth orbit germanium, it is less attracted towards the nucleus. So there is a possibility that more electrons will come outside from germanium compared with silicon because 4 electrons in germanium are less attracted towards the nucleus. So therefore, as temperature increases, all electrons, 4 electrons comes outside from germanium, comes outside from germanium atom. But here actually, as temperature increases, for example, for every 10 degrees C rise in temperature, only 2 electrons has to come outside. But here, how many are coming? For germanium, 4 electrons are coming here. But for silicon, how many electrons means only 2 electrons are coming outside. As temperature rises, only 2 electrons comes outside from silicon. But here, see here, germanium, all electrons are germanium, all electrons are coming outside. But whereas silicon, only few electrons are coming outside, that is 2. So therefore, here we can say that germanium becomes unstable because for naturally for every 10 degrees C rise in temperature, only 2 electrons, for example, they have to come outside. But here, how many they are coming for germanium? 4. But here for silicon, how many they are coming? Only 2. Because attraction force of silicon is greater than that of germanium. So therefore, as temperature rises, silicon atom is said to be stable because it is producing only 2 electrons. But whereas here it is producing 4 electrons and it is becoming empty at outermost orbit. So therefore, germanium becomes unstable because how many electrons has to come outside for germanium for every 10 degrees C rise in temperature? Only 2 electrons. But how many are coming here? 4. So it is not satisfying the rule. So therefore, it is becoming unstable. Whereas silicon, it is a stable because only that much amount of electrons are coming outside from silicon because it is said to be stable. So what is stability actually? How do you define stability? For every bounded input, you need to get a bounded output. That is what called as stable. For every bounded input, you need to get a bounded output. So that bounded output, it is producing only for silicon, not for germanium. For every bounded input, you need to get bounded output. That is what stable. But this is possible only with the silicon, not with the germanium. So that's what this definition is called stability. Its definition is stability, right? For every bounded input, you need to get bounded output. So that is possible only with silicon. That's what silicon is stable at higher temperatures, and germanium is unstable at higher temperatures, right? So here, that's what as temperature rises. Simple example I will tell you. A mobile phone, while you are talking with your friends, it gets heated up. If mobile phone gets heated up, what happens? If mobile phone gets heated up, temperature is rising. Temperature is rising if mobile phone gets heated up. If temperature rises, what happens? If you observe some mobile phones, they are bursting. Why they are bursting? Because they are not withstanding up to higher temperatures. So because they are bursting means they are made up of with what materials? Germanium material. Because they are bursting, because they are not able to withstand up to higher temperatures. So which material can withstand up to higher temperatures? Only silicon material can withstand up to higher temperatures, right? So that's what all electronic devices, laptops, mobile phones, televisions, refrigerators, all mobile phone electronic goods are made up of with only silicon, because silicon can withstand up to higher temperatures. It is stable at higher temperatures. Silicon is stable at higher temperatures, right? Now, even though silicon is stable, what I am telling is silicon is stable. But here you see germanium, but germanium Germanium is abundantly available on Earth's surface. Germanium is abundantly available on Earth's surface in the form of rocks. But for purification process, but it's easy to purify even germanium material. Easy to purify. Easy to purify. Germanium is abundantly available and easy to purify. But only the disadvantage is it is unstable. Only disadvantage is it is unstable. What about silicon? What about silicon? Silicon is abundantly available on Earth's surface in the form of sand. As you know already, silicon is abundantly available on Earth's surface, but it's very difficult to purify. Lot of money is required, lot of process is required to purify. Difficult to purify just for silicon. If you want to get a pure material of silicon, it's very difficult to get a pure material because you need to purify it in a very large quantities. So therefore, it requires time and it requires money. So therefore, it is very difficult to purify. Purification it's costs. Purification costs in for silicon, but it is stable. One of the advantage of silicon is it is stable in higher temperatures, right? It is stable in higher temperatures. Now coming to gallium arsenide. Gallium arsenide is one of the existing material nowadays. Gallium arsenide it's a compound crystal semiconductor where gallium arsenide is the material is 5 times faster than silicon. It is 5 times faster than silicon. That's what we are going for gallium arsenide. But if you see, gallium arsenide is not abundantly available on our surface. Gallium arsenide, gallium arsenide is not abundantly available on our surface. Not abundant. We need to export. We need to import it from other countries. Right, gallium arsenide. So it's not abundantly available on our surface. Even cost of purification is very high. Cost of purification is very high. Cost of purification is very high. Only one of the advantages it is 5 times faster than silicon. 5 times faster than silicon. That's what in India we don't have high speed trains. It is 5 times faster than silicon, isn't it? We don't have bullet trains because there is no gallium arsenide material which is more faster than silicon, right? So these are all the advantages and disadvantages of germanium, silicon, and gallium arsenide. And why we choose gallium silicon is the most important because it is standing, it is withstanding up to higher temperatures, and it's not been unstable. It is stable at higher temperatures. Only for this region, we are choosing silicon compared to that of germanium as a semiconductor in electronic devices. And the other device we are choosing is gallium arsenide. Gallium arsenide. If it is not silicon, we are using gallium arsenide. If you go for faster devices, if you want to go for faster devices, right? So this is the complete structure of germanium, silicon, and gallium arsenide. And most probably you will be getting a question in this also: why silicon and why it is stable, why it is unstable, how many orbitals are there, how many atomic numbers are there, what is the valence electrons at outermost orbit. Now if you see here, there are 4 electrons at outermost orbit in germanium and silicon. If you observe 4 electrons, then it is called as tetravalent atom. Tetravalent atom. Please write this important point. It is called as tetravalent atom. If it is contained by 4 electrons at outermost orbit, it is called tetravalent atom, right? If it is contained by 3 electrons, suppose gallium is there, how many electrons in first orbit? 2, second orbit 8, third orbit 18, 2018. How many are present in outermost orbit? 3. So if an atom is contained by 3 electrons at outermost orbit, it is called trivalent atom. It is called trivalent atom. It is called trivalent atom, right? Now suppose arsenide. Check arsenide. How many electrons at outermost first orbit? 2, second orbit 8, third orbit 18, fourth orbit 8 plus 2 10, 10 plus 18 28, 28 minus 33. How many? 5. So outermost orbit 5 electrons are there. If it is contained outermost orbit has 5 electrons, what is that atom called? It is called pentavalent atom. Pentavalent atom. It is called pentavalent atom, right? So 3 atoms you need to study here: tetravalent, pentavalent, and trivalent. Let us see in future classes what is the help of trivalent and pentavalent atoms also, right? So this is about why silicon we are using in electronic devices. Next, let us go for the new topic which is called as Fermi level. Fermi level. What is Fermi level actually? How do you define Fermi level? Fermi level is defined as it is an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. It is an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. So it is an energy state or energy level where 50% of electrons are filled while they are going from valence band to conduction band. As you know already, every electron is present in valence band. If you give energy to the electron which is present in valence band, it will jump from here, and then goes to conduction band. While it is jumping from valence band to conduction band, it reaches certain energy levels in between this gap. It reaches some energy levels, right? It reaches an energy level where that level is filled with 50% of electrons. So that level is called Fermi level. So Fermi level, it is defined as it is an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. 50% of electrons are filled. 50% of electrons are filled. Now here there is a possibility that you need to find what is the probability of finding an electron in which energy level it is present. Suppose what I told, electron is moving from valence band to conduction band. It is overcome by different energy levels like this. You have Fermi energy level also there. Now you need to find the probability of an electron filling this energy levels. What is the probability? Filling this energy level. What is the probability? Filling this energy level. What is the probability? So a scientist called Fermi Dirac has been proposed one formula in order to find the probability of an electron filling this energy levels while it is moving from valence band to conduction band. So that formula is called Fermi-Dirac probability function. Now that formula is given by like this: f of e is called Fermi-Dirac probability function with respect to energy E. F of e is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power e minus ef divided by kt. Ef is suffix this one. This f is suffix. This f is called Fermi energy level. Ef, E is called energy, K is called Boltzmann constant, T is temperature. Right? What is Boltzmann constant K? K can be given by Boltzmann constant 1.38 into 10 power minus 23 joules per degree Kelvin. T is temperature in degree Kelvin. And Ef is the Fermi energy level. Ef is Fermi energy level. And E is the energy. E is energy. F is the probability, E is the energy. Fermi Dirac probability function is given by 1 by 1 plus e power e minus ef by kt. Now with this formula we can able to find the position of an electron filling each energy level. What is its probability, right? So for example, let us apply this formula for both intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors. Suppose I apply this one for intrinsic semiconductors. What is intrinsic semiconductor? A pure form of semiconductor is called intrinsic semiconductor. Pure form of semiconductor is called intrinsic semiconductor. Here both holes and electrons are equal. Holes are given by P, electrons are given by N. So holes and concentration of holes is equal to concentration of electrons in intrinsic semiconductor. So it is called as pure form of semiconductor. Right? Now, for example, in intrinsic semiconductor, KCA, I am taking as KCA, if energy applied is equal to Fermi energy level, EF. If energy applied is equal to EF, very important points regarding competitive exams. If energy applied is equal to Fermi energy level, then what is the probability of finding an electron? F of E is equal to, what is the probability of finding an electron? F of E is equal to, that is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power E minus Ef. Both are equal. So both are equal means cancels, it will become 0. E power 0. E power 0 means what? 1. 1 by 1 plus e power 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 1 by 2. That is equal to how much? 0.5. That is equal to 0.5 means that is equal to 50%. 50%. So what is the meaning of this one? At E is equal to EF, the probability of finding an electron present at what energy level means its energy level is equal to 50%. That means we have a conduction band here and we have a valence band here. So where that electron is lying at E is equal to EF means it is lying at center point 50%. It is equal to 0.5. So it is lying at center point. So this is the center line where electron is lying. So this is called as a Fermi level. This is called as a Fermi level EF. That is called Fermi level EF. That is called as a Fermi level EF. So very important point, at energy E is equal to EF, the probability of finding an electron, is equal to 50%. 50%, right? Case 2. If energy applied externally is greater than Fermi energy level. If energy applied externally is greater than Fermi energy level. Now can you tell me what is the answer? If energy applied is greater than Fermi energy level EF, what will be the answer? What will be the answer? F of E is equal to, tell me what is the answer? F of E is equal to, put in chart box, send me in chart box. If energy applied is greater than Fermi energy level, E greater than EF, what is the probability of finding an electron present in which energy state? F of E is equal to, this one, this case 2 has been asked in GATE 2011. GATE 2011. F of E is equal to 1 by 1 plus E power, E greater than EF means E power, E is greater, very large. So you can neglect what? EF. So E is larger value means you can write this one as infinity. Instead of E is greater than EF means you can write this one as infinity. So therefore, what can I write? 1 by 1 plus E power infinity. What is E power infinity? Infinity. So 1 by 1 plus infinity is 1 by infinity. 1 by infinity is equal to 0. So answer is 0. Very good. Answer is 0. So you can check this in this figure. E is greater than EF. See here, energy, this is the energy applied which is greater than EF Fermi energy level. If energy applied is greater than EF, then what is the probability of finding an electron? This is a straight line. What is the probability of finding an electron? It's nothing but 0. So in x-axis I am taking F of E. So probability of finding an electron if energy applied is greater than EF is 0. It is equal to 0. Last case, case 3. E is less than EF. This is also asked in GATE. It's a GATE question. It has been asked in GATE 2008. E less than EF. What is F of E? F of E is equal to, answer, E less than EF. That is applied energy is less than Fermi energy level. If applied energy is less than Fermi energy level, so what is the answer? 1 by 1 plus E less than EF kada. E less than EF means what can I get? I can neglect E. If I neglect E in this formula, E power minus I get here, minus. So minus what I get here? Minus infinity I get here. Because EF is greater than E. EF is greater than E means this is EF. If EF is greater than E, so you can neglect E and EF you are taking infinity, so you will get minus infinity here. Right? So 1 by 1 plus E power minus infinity. What is the answer for E power minus infinity? E power minus infinity is 0. That is equal to 1 by 1. That is equal to 1. So what is the meaning of this one? If an external energy is applied which is less than Fermi energy level, then the probability of finding an electron which is filled by that energy level is equal to how much? 1. It is equal to 1. See this figure. This is the one case where the applied energy is less than EF, then it is present in which band? Valence band. This complete thing is called as valence band. It is present in valence band and its probability of finding is equal to 1. its probability of finding is equal to 1. So please do remember all these points. A, B, C points. A, B, C are very, very important points. Okay. So this is regarding Fermi level. Now see here, this is what we have calculated at T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin. All these three cases applies for T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin. At T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin, at absolute 0, 0 degree Kelvin, we have Fermi level which is lying at center point here, right? As temperature rises, what happens? Now, this is case 1 what we have studied here. This is case 1 for T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin. Now, for suppose case 2, as temperature rises, T is equal to some 300 degree Kelvin, room temperature. What happens at higher temperature? Because temperature is increased. What happens if temperature increases? The electrons present in valence band, what does they do? What does they do? They will take energy from temperature and they will jump from valence band to conduction band. They will jump from valence band to conduction band. So therefore here all empty states will happen here in valence band and filled states are happened in conduction band. So therefore filled states means, see, previously the curve is like this. It is 0 at this point. But now since the states are filled in conduction band, the curve existing like this. See. Since the states are filled, because of temperature, so the curve is existing like this. So now see here, there are empty states here and there are filled states from above this level here, right? So this is the curve for T is equal to 300 degree Kelvin. This curve is also important. Next, at T is equal to 3000 degree Kelvin, case 3 at T is equal to 3000 degree Kelvin, what happens? All electrons present here, still they take more energy from atmosphere at 300 degree Kelvin. So all will jump from valence band to conduction band. See here, all are jumping from valence band to conduction band, and these are all called as filled states. These are all filled states in conduction band, and these are all empty states. See, empty states, and the curve is existing like this. This is the curve for at T is equal to 3000 degree Kelvin. This is a curve for T is equal to 300 degree Kelvin. This is a curve for T is equal to 0 degree Kelvin. Right? This is what about Fermi level. Got it, ma? So very important points you need to study about Fermi level in this case. Very, very, very important point. And you need to remember this formula, f of e is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power e minus ef divided by kt. It's a called Fermi-Dirac probability density function. So you need to remember this formula, right? So once again, what is a Fermi level? Fermi level is a level, it's an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. It's an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. So that you need to remember here. It's an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. Fermi level is an energy level where 50% of electrons are filled. Got it? Right. So this is regarding Fermi level. Let us go with the another case. Now tell me, answer this question, all of you. Answer this question. What is the option? Put me in chat box. What is the answer for this? Anyone? The probability that an electron in a metal occupies the Fermi level at any temperature T is T greater than 0 degree Kelvin. At any temperature. A 0, B 1, C 0.5, D none. Answer? Is it visible, Amma? Is screen is visible? Hello? Hello?
Sir.
Yeah, tell me the answer. So what is the question actually? The probability that an electron in a metal it has been asked. So what is the answer? Put in chat box. What is the answer? In a metal it has been asked. In a metal means what is this? What is this band? Conduction band. What is this band? Both are overlapped, isn't it? This is valence band. What is this one? This is called EC. What is this one? This is called EV. Both are overlapped, no. So if both are overlapped, so here the probability that an electron in a metal occupies the Fermi level at any temperature. So both are overlapping. So where is that electron present? That electron is present at what point? At what point? It is present in valence band itself, no. It is present in valence band and also it is present in conduction band. But it's not moving from valence band to conduction band. Both are overlapped. So what is the probability of occupying an electron in valence band? It is equal to how much? It is equal to 1. The probability of an electron in a metal occupies the Fermi level at any temperature. T is T greater than 0 degree Kelvin is 1. Answer is 1. Because it is present in valence band. It's nothing but Fermi level because all are overlapped here, valence band and conduction band. So even there is no Fermi level here, somewhere it is present here. So what is that occupying level? That occupying level is nothing but probability of finding electron is 1. So maximum. So maximum probability of finding electron is maximum 1. Got it? Next. Do this problem. Consider two energy levels. Consider two energy levels. Consider two energy levels, E1 above the Fermi level and E2 below the Fermi level. P1 and P2 are the probabilities of E1 and E2 being occupied by the electron respectively. Then, what is the answer? What is the answer? Try it. Anyone? Consider two energy level E1. E1 I am considering above the Fermi level means E1 is greater than EF. This is first case. And E2 below the Fermi level. E2 below the Fermi level means it is less than EF. E2 below the Fermi level means E2 is less than EF. Next, P1 and P2 are the probabilities of E1 and E2. Right. So what is E1 greater than E2 means? If E1 is greater than E2, P1 and P2 are the probabilities of E1 and E2. So this is a probability of P1. This is probability of E2, P2. Right. Being occupied by the electron respectively. Then, now find the probability first. If E1 is greater than EF, what is the probability? Probability is nothing but f of E, no? F of E is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power, according to distribution function, Fermi-Dirac density function, 1 plus e power E minus EF divided by KT. that is equal to E greater than EF means what? Instead of E, I can write this one as E1. So E1 is greater than EF, what happens? 1 by 1 plus e power infinity. That is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power infinity, 1 by infinity, that is equal to 0. Right. So if E1 is greater than EF, what is the probability? P1 is equal to how much? 0. Similarly, case 2, f of E is equal to what is the answer? 1 by 1 plus e power E2 minus EF divided by KT, that is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power E2 is less than EF, means EF is greater than. For EF we have negative sign, so therefore I can write this one as minus infinity. That is equal to 1 by 1 plus e power minus infinity is 0, therefore that is equal to 1. So what is this f of e? It's nothing but probability. So what is the probability? P2. So P2 is equal to how much? 1. So therefore see the option, which one is the correct? P1 is 0, P2 is equal to 1. So therefore P1 is less than P2. P1 is less than P2. C, option C is the right answer. Option C is the right answer. Right? Got it, all of you? Right. Likewise, you need to calculate. Okay. Next. Next. Let us go with the types of semiconductors and their energy bands. Types of semiconductors and their energy bands. Okay. There are two types of semiconductors, as you know already. What are those types of semiconductors? Intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. Right. Intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. What is intrinsic semiconductor and what is extrinsic semiconductor? Let us see. What is intrinsic semiconductor? A pure form of semiconductor is called intrinsic semiconductor. I told you already, intrinsic semiconductor is the purest form. Purest form of semiconductor. Purest form of semiconductor is called intrinsic semiconductor. Suppose you take a crystal here with a silicon crystal or germanium crystal. See here, outermost orbit of silicon crystal I have 4 electrons because it's a tetravalent atom. So therefore 1, 2, 3, 4. This is first electron, this is second electron, this is third electron, this is fourth electron. Likewise, I have taken complete silicon crystal. See here, this is also silicon crystal and it is forming a bond with the nearby atom. This is also silicon crystal, it is forming a bond. This is also silicon, it is forming a bond. This is forming a bond. This is forming a bond. Likewise, every silicon crystal are forming a bond here. This is called as covalent bond. It is forming a bond and this bond is called as a covalent bond. What is covalent bond? Sharing of valence electrons with other atom is called covalent bond. Right? Sharing of valence electrons. These are called valence electrons. No, 4 electrons are valence electrons in a silicon. So sharing of valence electrons with other atom is called as a covalent bond. Now here, every atom is sharing their electrons with other atom. Every atom, silicon atom is sharing electrons with other atom. Right? So therefore, now here, is there any free electron here which is present outside of the silicon crystal? There is no free electron because here every electron is forming a bond and there is no free electron here. Suppose if you want to get a free electron here, if you want to achieve a free electron here, how much energy you need to apply? A lot of energy you need to apply here. If you apply a lot of energy, then the electron present in this bond will break and then it will become a free electron here, like this, leaving a here hole, and this electron comes outside. This electron becomes a free electron. That free electron tends for flow of electricity. As you know already in first class I have told you how does current flows in semiconductors. That is called as a free electron and that will flow from one point to another point and then create a current. But how many free electrons like this free electrons are existing in this intrinsic semiconductor? Means very few electrons. Very few electrons. Approximately, if you give a large energy, if you give large external energy, only 1 or 2 electrons comes outside, and these 1 or 2 electrons transfer flow of electricity. Now, what is the current flow? Even if you are applying large energy, what is the current flow? Very small current. Very small current is observed in a semiconductor, which is negligible. This current is a negligible one. That current is negligible. right? So that's what in intrinsic semiconductor, if you want to make sure current has to flow in the device, then lot of energy is applied externally. But even though you are applying lot of external energy, current is very minimum. It's negligible current which is observed, negligible current. So that's what. So intrinsic semiconductors are not used uh, for flow of currents, right? Because they are pure semiconductors. Both electrons, number of concentration of electrons is equal to concentration of holes in intrinsic semiconductor. So there are no extra electrons present here in order to make sure to flow current in the device. So therefore, intrinsic semiconductors are not useful for flow of electricity in the semiconductors, right? So that's what there is a possibility that we need to have large amount of currents in semiconductors. So large amount of currents means a large amount of free electrons, free charge carriers. So that's what we need to dope that intrinsic semiconductor with extra impurities. If you dope that semiconductor with extra impurities, then that will form a external semiconductor or extrinsic semiconductor, which is nothing but intrinsic plus extrinsic, intrinsic plus eccentric, intrinsic plus impurity, intrinsic plus impurity is equal to extrinsic semiconductor, is equal to extrinsic semiconductor. So now let us study very important properties here. Intrinsic semiconductor plus impurity. What is this impurity? What is impurity? Or it is also called doping, doping or doping. Then doping or impurity. Then it will become extrinsic semiconductor. So what will happen if it becomes extrinsic semiconductor, right? Now before that, in intrinsic semiconductor, where does Fermi level lies? This is important point in a competitive exams point of view. In extrinsic semiconductor, where does this Fermi energy level lies? So as you know that we have a concentration of electrons a formula and concentration of holes a formula. So please do remember this one. Concentration of electrons, concentration of electrons N is equal to Nc, where Nc is called effective mass of electrons. N is called concentration of electrons. N is called concentration of electrons, and Nc is called effective mass of electrons, effective mass of electrons, effective mass of electrons in conduction band. Because C here suffix C means conduction band, effective mass of electrons in conduction band. And Ec you know already, this one conduction band energy level, Ec. Ef you know Fermi energy level, K is Boltzmann constant, T is temperature. So concentration of electrons is given by N is equal to Nc into e power minus of Ec minus Ef divided by Kt. This is the formula for calculation of number of electrons present or charge carriers of electrons. N is equal to Nc into e power minus of Ec minus Ef divided by Kt. Similarly, concentration of holes, it is given by P. Concentration of holes is given by P. P is equal to Nv. What is Nv? Now you can write here P is equal to number of concentration of holes. P is equal to concentration of holes. P is equal to concentration of holes. What is Nv? Nv is equal to effective mass of holes. Effective mass of holes in valency band. Effective mass of holes in valency band, right? Into e power minus of Ef minus Ev whole divided by Kt, right? So this will represent regarding valence band. That's what Ef is larger. So therefore Ef minus Ev. This will represent about conduction band, which is greater. Ec is greater than Ef. So therefore we are writing here Ec minus Ef divided by Kt. Here Ef minus Ev divided by Kt. Right? Now in intrinsic semiconductor, what I told, concentration of electrons is equal to concentration of holes. That is equal to intrinsic concentration Ni. That is equal to intrinsic concentration Ni, which is called as concentration of charge carriers Ni. Ni means it may be electrons or it may be holes, but both are equal. N is equal to P is equal to Ni. Now using this first equation and using this second equation, equate this both equations. N, what is N is equal to Nc into e power minus of Ec minus Ef divided by kT is equal to P. What is P? P is equal to Nd into e power minus of EF minus EV divided by kT. That is equal to Ni, intrinsic concentration. So both are equal in intrinsic semiconductor, right? Both are equal in intrinsic semiconductor. Let us see what will happen. If both are equal in intrinsic semiconductor, what happens to Fermi level? What happens to Fermi level? Now, what happens to Fermi level? See, Nc divided by Nv is equal to e power minus of EF minus EV divided by kT divided by kT into, I am bringing this one to this side, e power, it will become plus EC minus EF divided by kT that is equal to e power minus of minus EF plus EV divided by kT plus EC minus EF divided by kT. Because both are e powers, I am adding it. So therefore, now that is equal to e power. What happens? EF is there, minus 2 times of EF, next plus EV plus EC divided by kT. Okay, Nc divided by Nv. Now what happens? If you want to remove this E, what do you need to apply? Natural logarithm. Natural logarithm of Nc divided by Nv is equal to minus 2 EF plus EV plus EC whole divided by kT. That is equal to cross multiply. What do you get? Cross multiply. You cross multiply, what happens? Yeah, cross multiplied, what will happen? Minus 2 EF plus EC plus EV is equal to kT ln Nc by Nv. Okay, that is equal to, what happens? I want EF, Fermi energy level I want. So what happens? Bring this one that side. What happens? EC plus EV minus kT ln Nc by Nv is equal to 2EF. So what is EF is equal to now? EF is equal to EC plus EV divided by 2 minus kT ln Nc divided by Nv divided by 2. Okay, now what I told here, it's an intrinsic semiconductor. N is equal to P is equal to Ni. Similarly here also, the effective mass of electrons in conduction band is equal to effective mass of holes in valence band. Nc is equal to Nv, right? So substitute here, Nc is equal to Nv. What happens? Ln 1, natural logarithm 1 is 0. So what happens? What is the final answer? Because since it is intrinsic semiconductor, Nc is equal to Nv. So therefore, what is EF is equal to? EF is equal to EC plus EV divided by 2. This is the formula. Now where does it is lying? EF is equal to EC plus EV divided by 2 means where does it is lying? See, it is lying exactly at this is called EC, this is a conduction band, and this is a valence band, and this is called EV. So where does Fermi energy level lies? It is lying exactly at center point of EC and EV. Where is that center point? This is the center point. So what is the conclusion? You can conclude that Fermi energy level for intrinsic semiconductors lies at the center of conduction band and valence band.